Our next presenter is Zackary Morris. Zackary lives in Union and attends BCLUW High School. The title of his project is Giving Bees a Home.
Hello everyone, my name is Zach Morris and I'm trying to save the bees. Just real quick, I gotta let you know I have Tourette's, so if you see a little shaking, that's why that is. I'm gonna ask you all to close your eyes. Now, picture a world where famine runs rampant, much worse than modern levels. From almonds to apples, cucumbers to berries, production drops significantly. The price of many groceries would rise significantly because of rarity. There would be no honey. Of course, I'm talking about bees. You can open your eyes now. According to Business Insider, if there were no bees, over 80% of our crops would be affected, for humans and animals. That's a lot. This is the reason my focus is on bees. To put it simply, I love nature. Ever since I was a young boy, my parents have taken me hiking, fishing, biking, you name it. So I knew that I had to do something nature-oriented. By the way, I'm sure Herbert Hoover would have loved this project. As a boy, it seems Hoover spent a lot of time fishing and being outdoors, like myself. And this passion of nature was shown through his presidency, where he helped expand the national park system. So, I found about this scholarship and brought it up to my physics teacher, Roberta Vanderaa, who I should note has been a tremendous help in getting this project going. When I was telling Mrs. Vanderaa about the Herbert Hoover Scholarship and how I thought I could do something nature-based, she said, "What about bee lawns?" Bee lawns. I didn't know what they were, so I looked them up, and they can be defined as a plot of flowers of any size that can be mowed like a lawn while still maintaining its flowery status. From here, I could begin to create my goals. My goals were to plant bee lawns, designate a sizable proportion of the project to community outreach, and to create something sustainable. Additionally, I would need a plan. First, I need to buy some seeds. Next, although just as important, I need some land. Now, I already had land at home, but within that goal of creating bee lawns, there was the implication that it would be spread throughout the community. Next, I'd want to make my project known through the community with outreach. Yard signs, fun days, newsletters, etc. would do the job. I'd then have to plant my bee lawns and care for them over the summer, and also give the bees a place to live. First, the seed. All the cheap bee lawn seeds that already existed contained non-native, more importantly, invasive seeds, such as Dutch clover. And while I could have said okay and just went with it, I felt, as I still do, that it's important to promote native plant species. So I began a hunt for my desired flowers. In the meantime, land became a necessity. So I began brainstorming where I could plant my lawns. Since what I'm doing is conservation, I figured, why not contact the County Conservation Department? So that's what I did. I sent an email to each director in the Tri-County area. Hardin County's director, Wes Weiss, asked me to present my idea to the Conservation Board. Once approved, they found a nice spot for me at Daisy Long Park. Grundy County's director, Nick Buseman, gave me a pretty quick thumbs up and had me check out a couple spots at Wolf Creek Park, one of which I chose. Marshall County's director, Emily Herring, had me contact Jeff Hubbard, the director of Marshalltown Parks and Recreation, who allotted a small plot in Riverview Park. Now, back to the seeds. I tried looking all over the internet for seeds, as well as asking people IRL. I ended up finding Prairie Moon Nursery, a business based out of Minnesota known for its high-quality seeds. A feature I liked about this website was there was a page that took you to bee lawn varieties, and if you clicked on a certain variety, it would show you what its native range was. This was amazing. It's what I needed. After carefully crafting a custom seed mix of prairie pussytoes, prairie sage, partridge pea, black-eyed Susan, sky blue aster, common blue violet, and landscape coreopsis, I ordered the seeds. So far, I had 4 spots I'd be planting at: the fourth being my house, so because of the price, I ordered only enough seeds to cover 4 8-foot by 8-foot plots. I ended up deciding I'd only use those seeds for the 3 county parks, and I'd find more seeds later on. Before I move on, you may want to hear my motivation. I've been taught that it's the small steps that count. If everyone is taking these small steps, humanity can finally push forward. This project, while it might not have global reach, it's already inspired others, as I'll talk about in a bit. The more people I can get inspired, the more people I could get thinking about bees, the more action will be taken. That's why outreach is so important to me. Moving on, things started brewing up in my physics class in school. I had my teacher, Mrs. Vandera, who was very eager to give me a hand. In the class, we thought up 2 big ideas. One, creating bee houses, and having a fun day at the elementary. First, the bee houses. As you can see over here, I made a box with an open face and a slanted roof. As you could probably imagine, these holes are drilled for the bees to live in, and these stems are from milkweed plants, the perfect size for bees. Now, they're not for honeybees, they're actually for the native bees of Iowa, which according to Iowa Department of Natural Resources, there are between 400 to 500 different species, including bumblebees, mining bees, and carpenter bees. The bee houses are simply to give the bees a place to live and will be placed close to the bee plots when spring rolls around. All the wood used for this part of the project is from Mrs. Vandera. Now, for the fun day at the elementary. Kids are the adults of the future, so I felt that they ought to learn a little about bees too. I got into contact with my cross-country coach and first grade teacher, Vicki Anderson, and I proposed my idea, and she agreed. For this, I thought up 3 activities. The first was that I'd read a book, which I chose to be Kaya and the Bees by Maribeth Volz. It's a book about a girl with a beekeeping father who teaches her daughter not to fear bees just because they sting. This book helps her get rid of the negative stigma many kids have about bees. The second activity requires a little movement. With this, we have a flower wristband, a bee Q-tip, and these flowers with sponges and paint on the inside. What the kids would do, they take their bee Q-tip, and they dip it in the paint and bring it to their wristband flower. And they keep doing this for 20 seconds. We split it up into 2 groups. The first group was only about 3 kids, and the second group was the whole class. We taught them that if there's more bees going around pollinating, then there will be more food. It's healthier for the ecosystem. We finished with bringing in the 3 bee houses and having the students split into groups, putting in the drilled blocks and wooden stems how they saw fit. Now, I also wanted to put out something in the paper that outlined what I was doing and for what reason. So in May, I had my mom help me with sending out a press release to the Grundon, Hardin, and Marshall County newspapers, where it's printed in all 3. Now, did you know that, although non-native, dandelions are a very important early food source for bees? When I found this out from talking with family friend and DNR member Bill Spees, I want to make it known through outreach, because the more food for bees, the merrier. That's why, with the help of my mom, who's an outreach expert, we created yard signs that say, dandelions are okay, don't spray. I used Canva to create them, and printed them and handed them out to about 5 different people in the Tri-County area, who keep them close to the road for passersby to see. Additionally, I created a website from scratch, which hosts info on bees, local bee products, and a blog where I will be inviting experts on the field to talk about bees and other environmental issues close to their heart. The QR code for the site is also on the yard signs. Finally, it came time to start in on the plots. With my dad, we went to each of the 3 locations, and with our shovels in hands, started turning over the soil by about half a foot, leaving grass underneath and soil on top. Then, with my grandma's seed spreader, I spread oats over all the plots. Now hold on. You might be wondering, wasn't it supposed to be flowers? Not yet. Because most of the flowers require cold stratification, which is when germination is only possible after a cool period of weather, Jesse of Prairie Moon Nursery suggested in the meantime to prepare the soil I would use oats. The flowers will be planted around November 20th, just the right time. After the oats, I placed a new yard sign on each plot listing the flowers that will be used, as well as the website QR code. Over the summer, I continued to keep checking up on each of the plots for weeding. I also wrote an article which I sent to both the Grundy County and Marshall County newsletters. In it, I wrote on how I created my bee lawns and which seeds I'm using, so people could read it and get an idea of what they could do. Because of the newsletter, I met Kimberly Elder. Kimberly had found out about the project through the newsletter. She invited me to her home in State Center, where she showed me all the beautiful gardens she has around her house. She introduced me to non-native species of flowers that are still very important to bees, such as Mexican milkweed. This made me think of all the zinnias I've been growing. Because of Kimberly, I decided I'd collect the seeds from my zinnias and plant them in an even greater quantity the following year. The same day I went to Mrs. Elder's house, I met Charlene Martin, who's a master gardener. Charlene permitted me to plant land at her house, and after I told her about my project. Linda Clark, a Marshalltown resident, also read my newsletter this fall and contacted me. In a following week, I met Linda, and she gave me free rein on the backyard. Now, with about 30 times the amount of land than before, I'd need a lot more seed. Also, I came to realize that Linda, Charlene, and the park directors didn't intend to mow the lawns. They just wanted flowers. Because of this, I could now buy a pollinator mix, which grows tall from Pheasants Forever, for only $100 for half an acre. A lot less compared to the last batch. Now, this brings us to now. This project doesn't just stop today. The flowers will bloom year after year with some amount of weeding. And when I'm away, it's easy as paying a friend to come over on a Saturday to help pull weeds. My bee houses will go up this next spring, and the website is still up, and I plan to recruit a friend to keep this project going. This project has been a ton of fun. I've learned lots about growing flowers and reaching out to the community, which has been a success. People I've met have put their faith in me, and I'm ready to show them something uncommon. So now, I ask you, dear audience, to take that small step and help save the bees. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So, very nice presentation. Where did you place the houses next to the plots? Like, I didn't see that.
Okay, so the houses, so they're not by the plots yet, because the interior, you do have to replace it. So we figured we will put them up when we put when we plant the flowers. So they will go up this next spring, so it just reduces a year of having to replace the inside.
And then will they be on a post, or will they be hanging from a tree? I didn't see any trees out there.
They'll be placed on a post, yeah.
And then, I see it's all made out of wood on the outside. Does it have any weathering
yeah.
that you need? Or?
Yeah, it has a weathering spray, and the purple, that's an attractive color to bees, so they're more likely to go in there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, it's on. Wait, can you hear me? Okay. Thank you for your presentation. I'm curious because there were so many different elements where you were learning, whether that be learning about what was best for the bees, or writing a press release, or creating a website. I'm just curious, what was maybe the most interesting thing you learned, or was there anything that you learned that maybe changed the path that you want to take going forward, going into college?
The big thing was just the change from, I think I had my mind too set on just making it specifically bee lawns. So that's why towards the end, I kind of realized, well, it doesn't need to be mowed. Most people, they just want flowers. That's what they want. So it could be any kind of flower, whether it's the kind I used in the project, or tall flowers that are typically used as butterfly praries, but are still good for bees. So just growing any flowers would help, and that's where I kind of changed. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.